What is the nicest thing you have ever done that no one knows about? I was day tripping to Vancouver from Seattle and stopped in for lunch at a local cafe. From my window, I saw a young teenage girl out in the cold, squatted down in a closed-up business's doorway, holding a small bundle in her arms. She was panhandling. People were mostly walking by, ignoring her. She looked just broken. I finished up my meal and went outside, went through my wallet and thought I'd give her $5 for some food. I got up to her and she was sobbing. She looked like she was 14, 15. And that bundle in her arms was a baby wrapped up. I felt like it just got punched in the chest. She looked up, putting on a game face, and asked for any change. I asked her if she'd like some lunch. Right next door was a small quick trip type grocery store. I got a can of formula for the baby, very young, maybe 2 or 3 months old, and took her back to the cafe, though I'd just eaten. She was very thankful, got a burger and just inhaled it. Got her some pie and ice cream. She opened up and we talked. She was 15, got pregnant, parents were angry, and she was fighting with them. She ran away. She's been gone almost 1 full year. I asked her if she'd like to go home, and she got silent. I coaxed her. She said her parents wouldn't want her back. I coaxed her further. She admitted she stole $5,000 in cash from her dad. Turns out $5,000 doesn't last long at all, and the streets are tough on a 15-year-old. Very tough. She didn't want to go back, but she was afraid no one wanted her back after what she did. We talked more. I wanted her to use my phone to call home, but she wouldn't. I told her I'd call and see if her folks wanted to talk to her. She hesitated and gave bad excuses, but eventually agreed. She dialed the number and I took the phone. Her mom picked up and I said, "Hello," awkwardly introducing myself, and said her daughter would like to speak to her. Silence, and I heard crying. Gave the phone to the girl, and she was just quiet listening to her mom cry, and then said hello, and she cried. They talked. She gave the phone back to me. I talked to her mom some more. I drove her down to the bus station and bought her a bus ticket home. Gave her $100 cash for incidentals and some formula, diapers, wipes, snacks for the road. Got to the bus and she just cried, saying thank you over and over. I gave her a kiss on the forehead and a hug, kissed her baby, and she got on the bus. I get her a Christmas card every year. She's 21 now and in college. Her name is Michaela and her baby was Joe. I'd never really told anyone about this. I just feel good knowing I did something good in this world. Maybe it'll make up for the things I've effed up. Well, that was the story. So basically, TLDR, a daughter ran away from home because she was pregnant. A man found her, gave her some food, got her back with her parents, and never told anybody about it, except for here. So, anonymous heroes, I guess. And now it is time for story 2. This is a story about my father. I'm awakened by my mom around 1:30 a.m. Get up, there's fire. We have to go outside, she says. I'm freaking out, but I don't smell smoke. I assemble outside with my mother and younger brother and sister. Down the street, townhouse in the same row as ours is engulfed in flames. I don't see my father around, so I ask my mom. He went to see if he could help, she says. I can hear the nervousness in her voice. My father is known to be rather bold. The story, as it was told to me, as any adult, goes like this. My father arrives after the fire department and learns that a man is alive inside, possibly lost. The fire department won't go in after the man because they do not feel it is safe yet. My dad is like athletic and clad in only his long johns, breaks a window and enters the home. He finds the man at the top of the stairs, badly burnt and unable to walk. He carried the man down the stairs and out the front door. The firemen treat my dad briefly for smoke inhalation, and the cops take a statement. The man he carried from the house died after a week in the hospital, but his family was grateful that they had a chance to say goodbye. The county awarded my dad a plaque, and Comcast gave us free cable for a year. He never talks about it, and it was so long ago that no one he knows is aware that it ever happened. About a week ago, my 5-year-old asked me if superheroes were real. I told him the story of the day his grandfather was a superhero, and I almost couldn't finish. I hope that one day my son will feel that kind of pride in me. TLDR, my dad pulled a guy from a burning building, and no one really knows about it. Well, really the only thing I can say about that story is just this dad is an absolute giga chad. This is the father we all wished we had. And now we are going to story 3. 2 years ago, I was walking to my local gym for my workout through the parking lot. As I approached, I noticed a car that had pulled halfway out of its parking space. Behind the wheel was a man in his mid-60s, evidently on his way to or from his workout. He was slumped over the wheel, clutching his chest. I knocked on the window and got no response. I opened the door and asked him if he needed help. He looked up at me, pale as a ghost, and mumbled, "I can't feel my arm. I think I'm having a heart attack." I ran into the gym and went to the front desk, told them the situation, and asked them to call 911 and get an ambulance immediately. three people behind the desk fumbled through some corporate policy manual, attempted to call the gym manager, conferred with one another, and basically did everything and anything but pick up the damn phone and dial for help. I pretty quickly realized that these people weren't going to do anything helpful in time. I ran back out to the man in the car who was, if anything, even paler than before and was unable to verbalize. So as gently but quickly as I could, I pushed him into the passenger seat, put his car in gear, and drove as fast as I could to the nearest hospital, which fortunately I knew the location of, running most every red light in the process, and also getting pursued by a police car, in front of whom I'd run several lights. I pulled into the ER at the hospital and ran in, telling the first nurse I saw that I had a man in the car undergoing a cardiac arrest. The staff rushed out with a gurney and transferred the man to it while supplying oxygen and checking his vitals, and wheeled him inside with great haste. About this time, the police officer rolled up, and I explained the situation. Fortunately, he let me off. Unfortunately, I was too dumb to ask for a ride back to the gym, where I'd left my own car. So I walked the 5 miles back, worked out, and drove home. About 8 weeks later, I was riding the recumbent bike in the cardio room when someone tapped me on the shoulder. I didn't recognize the person. Turns out it was the man from earlier, but a lot healthier looking. He told me his name was Lester, and he said, "You're the guy who took me to the hospital. The doctor told me if I'd arrived a few minutes later, I'd probably have been dead. You saved my life. I just wanted to say thank you." So that made me feel pretty nice. Other than the police pursuing me at the time, I never told anyone about this. TLDR, I saved a man from a cardiac arrest and never told anybody about it. So, well, these are all heartwarming stories, and I think that is going to be the end of our video today. Make sure to like and subscribe, boost my tiny channel into the algorithm, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.